Hello, my name is Teacher Ibrahim. Welcome to lesson number 52. In the 51st lesson, we were looking at the binomial nomenclature and the rules that are associated with the same. Today, we are going to look at the cell. And I hope you still remember definition of the term cell as the basic and functional unit of a living organism. What does that imply? It implies that all living organisms comprise of cells, or they are cells for the case of single-celled organisms. Thank you. I hope you're going to learn something on this. Let us look at this and see. Okay, let's go. This one here this is the diagram of both plant and animal cells as seen under the light and electron microscope. When you look at these first two cells, this one is an animal cell seen under the light microscope, while this one over here is the plant cell as seen under the light microscope. I want us to start comparing these two. When you look at the animal cell as viewed under the light microscope, you'll only be able to see three parts. That is the cell membrane, the nucleus, and the cytoplasm. When you look at the same cell under an electron microscope, there are so many parts that you will be able to see. This is because an electron microscope has got a very high resolution power and magnification power, which enables it to see even tiny substances during magnification. In addition to the three that we had seen under the light microscope, you will be able to see the following parts in an animal cell. We will be able to see the mitochondria. Mitochondria is here. That is how it looks like. You'll also be able to see the lysosome. Remember, we are looking at an animal cell under an electron microscope. You'll also be able to see the cytoplasm, that is the liquid part. All this is the cytoplasm. You'll be able to see the vacuole. Reaching here, I think there is something that I need to remind you. Most of the students always say that the animal cell do not have a vacuole when they are differentiating it from the plant cell. Please do not forget, always say that it has if the vacuole is present, is very small and they are scattered within the cytoplasm. I'll clarify that later on. Let's continue look at these parts. It also comprises of the Golgi bodies. It also comprises of the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. We can see another part within the animal cell called the secretory vesicles. The function of these parts is to produce some secretions which are important to the cell. We'll come to note them later on. We have the pienocytic vesicle. Pienocytic, from the word pienocytosis, this is where the fluid may get into the cell through this point in the process called pienocytosis. Pienocytosis is the process whereby the cell is capable of absorbing, of taking in nutrients directly in liquid form. We call it pienocytosis. And the cells which are able to do that are called the pinocytes. Opposite of pinocytosis is phagocytosis. But I'll explain that later on. Let's go on. We have the centrioles. The centrioles are here. And we have the nucleus, which we saw previously. We saw the nucleus when we were looking at this cell under the light microscope as a dark substance. But here, when we look at it under an electron microscope, the nucleus can be seen to be having several parts. Those parts include the nucleolus. Another part of the nucleus is nucleoplasm, which is just the liquid found inside the nucleus. It also contains the nuclear membrane, that is the membrane that covers the nucleus, and it also contains the nuclear pore. These openings here are referred to as the nuclear pores. The nuclear pores. Let's move on. We have the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. We had mentioned it earlier. And finally, we have the ribosomes. Those are the parts that are visible when you look at the animal cell under an electron microscope. The parts become more because the magnification power of the electron microscope is very high, since it can magnify up to 500,000 times the size of the specimen, while the light microscope can only magnify up to 3,000 times, up to 500 times, based on the type of the lenses being used up. Having looked at that, we can now move to the plant cells as seen under the light microscope. When you look at the plant cell under the light microscope, you'll only be able to see 7 parts. Why? Because the plant cell is a bit bigger when you compare it to the animal cell. The parts that you will be able to see in the plant cell include the cell wall. The cell wall is the outermost covering. We also have the cell membrane. We also have the cytoplasm. We have the nucleus here. We have the chloroplast. All these ones are chloroplast. I hope you are able to see them. We have the subvacuole, this part here at the center, and we also have the tonoplast, that is the membrane of the vacuole. When we look at the same cell, that is the plant cell, in an electron microscope, we'll be able to see several other parts that we couldn't see when we were looking at it under the light microscope. The reason remains the same. Let us look at the parts that we'll be able to see. The first part here, according to my chart, is the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Remember, it is the endoplasmic reticulum which doesn't have ribosomes on its surface. We also have the nuclear pore, the nuclear membrane, the nucleolus, and the nucleoplasm, which form the nucleus. I had explained that earlier. Let's proceed. We also have the cell wall down here. This is the outermost part of the plant that protects the inner part. We also have the cell membrane. We have the lysosome. I hope you are able to see the lysosome there. We also have the mitochondrion. If there are many, we call them mitochondria. We also have the cytoplasm, which is the liquid part of the cell. We have the subvacuole, this part here. Chloroplast is also here. This is where photosynthesis. We also have Golgi bodies, which are also referred to as the Golgi apparatus. and those are the organelles that are found in a plant cell when you look at them under an electron microscope. That is the end of lesson number 52. Thank you for watching the video. Please remember to join me in my next lesson. That is lesson number 53, where I'll be talking about the tissues found in an animal cell. Thank you.